Hi, friends. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Today's meditation is on sound. We're working with the throat chakra, this Sudha, which is located here in the throat, one's own place. And it's the bridge that connects our minds and our hearts. And so, before I lead you in a meditation with sound, I wanted to say a few things. Um, we're kind of moving beyond the four basic elements of earth, water, fire, and air. Um, so, sound and our words shape the formless into physical manifestation. Thinking about all your best ideas and how passionate and excited you've been in your life. And when they really start to come alive, is when you share them and talk about them with your loved ones, right? Um, so, I've just been thinking about, a lot of us are kind of stuck at home, and I have seen and heard more birds than I ever have. And I don't know if it's because I'm working less and observing more, or if it's because humanity has slowed down and the birds are just more comfortable coming closer. More orioles and cardinals and woodpeckers, thrashers, wren, hummingbirds. They're just really abundant. And there's so many sounds in nature that we can naturally meditate on. Um, Sometimes when we can't express ourselves in a way or pray in a way that we'd really feel is sincere. It's nice to have a song. It's nice for every single one of us to have a song to sing, and it doesn't have to be like a spiritual song, just something that opens up your heart and makes you feel alive. I remember the very first time I kind of, not the first time that I prayed, but one of the first times I was sitting up in Native American church. I was sitting next to a man that was a stranger then, but now I call him brother, Navajo. Um, and I was doing the beauty queen prayer, dear God, please protect my family and keep them healthy, and may there be peace on earth. And that's really all I could come up with. And then he just kept praying and praying and praying and praying in his native language. And I just stopped speaking. I mean, I was praying quietly to myself, but I just listened. And the emotion that he had behind the words, behind the prayer, moved me to tears. Um, Another time I was moved to tears by somebody's expression was in college listening to Maya Angelou at University of Texas, and her story is so poignant. Um, Raped at a very young age. She told her family, and some of the family members chased down her mother's boyfriend and beat him to death. And she saw that and thought that her words could kill and that they're that powerful. So she stopped speaking for 5 years and then grew up and became such a um, amazing poet, moving poet. She read and Still I Rise at UT, and whew, I won't even try. I mean, just the way, the sound of her voice, her story is so present. Um, I'm gonna smudge the space before I go too far. So sweetgrass. This is my sweetgrass that I grow in my garden. Um, some people, when the horses pass away, they braid their tails to keep um, there's three. It's a braid of three: body, mind, and spirit. So that's a really wonderful smell. We invite the guiding spirits that so they can enjoy also that wonderful sweet vanilla scent. If you have your own smudge and you like to smudge your space, go ahead. And then you can smudge your throat too. Anytime if you have a hard conversation, something that you know that you have to confront with somebody, it's always a nice idea to smudge your throat and kind of ground down. So in many different cultures, Australian, Japanese, African, the New Testament, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God, right? So the power of the vibration of sound created universes. And when you think about the Japanese scientists that did the study of water and wrote hate, love, and then studied the molecules, and the ones with love written on them were beautiful crystalline images, and hate, they were very chaotic. And so if you think about how much water we are created, we have so much water in our blood, literally. Is it possible that our own thoughts affect our internal landscapes when we have negative self-doubts and self-hate and all of those things? And I know that it's hard to find love for ourselves sometimes. I'm on the other side of loving myself, but I haven't always felt this way. It took a lot of work to see myself and accept myself as who I am, and love that person. And so, my prayers go out to everybody that hasn't gotten to that place, because it's hard. And I know that a lot of people are struggling right now. So learning how to pray, is helpful. And we don't have to all be these Navajo, uh, prayerful people that bring people to tears with our prayers. We can all just start with a simple thank you, and I'm sorry, and forgive me. And it goes a really long way. Those words are very powerful. Thank you, especially. So also sometimes when we have a hard time knowing what to say, a song is nice. It's always nice to have a song tucked in your back pocket to express the emotion that you feel. Om Mani Padme Hum is a Buddhist mantra that is believed to create transformation. Om Shanti. The vibration of Shanti, the sound of Shanti, brings peace to the world. So when I think about Shanti, I like to think about, myself bringing that vibration of love, spreading it out to my family, spreading it out to my friends, and then really in my imagination, digging deeper, spreading it out to the people that don't have people praying and thinking about them, incarcerated ones, so many animals that are suffering, humans. There's plenty of Shanti that needs to be spread, and I try to hold up those people through that vibration of Shanti. And, maybe who knows whether they can feel that or not, but I always feel like it's worth a try. So before we begin to journey, another thing that we can do is, if you have a rattle. So just as we're all water, we're energy, really, right? So a rattle kind of sound shakes up the energy around us. So another thing that you can do if you're feeling tense and tight and you need to loosen up is to find a rattle and kind of just shake your energy out. And I like to just shake it and leave that sort of energy into the earth that then opens itself up and takes it and transforms it into something beautiful. So I'm not going to share my medicine tool completely, but I do have a staff and just share a little bit of it. But so the talking stick, right? The idea of the talking stick is that whoever's holding the talking stick, everybody else has to listen. And we use this in our Montessori classroom because beyond speech is listening, right? That's the other side of communication. And I think now more than ever in this time that we're in, we should all be listening a lot more, listening to Mother Nature, listening to our inner hearts, and really asking ourselves the big questions. You know, who am I really? Why am I here? How can I change the world into the environment that I want to be living into right now? My little talking stick has some bells on it because I think sound is very important. So, and we're not all also comfortable singing and talking. And, you know, I really like to write poetry. So there's so many different types of forms of communication, dance and writing, keeping daily pages. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and grab my drum. So you can begin to get comfortable. And I think in this journey, as you sit down and have both of your feet grounded, allow for the vital energy to come up through the soles of your feet. And I'm going to invite you, usually I invite you just to get comfortable and surrender, but try on this one to stay seated. See what you think about that. But have your legs uncrossed if you can. Like I said, both of the soles of the feet that are, they have all of the sensory channels are grounding down into the earth, allowing your body to become heavy. The palms can be in the lap, facing up, or just down alongside the body. You are in full control right now. You're in full control. It is up to you to interpret any messages that come to you. It's your medicine that's coming. And so you're the interpreter and the doctor of your own healing. So you can begin to inhale deeply into the lungs. Exhale, opening up the heart, opening up the mind. Then you can find yourself in a deep wood. Within that wood, you start to hear the sounds of the forest and the many different types of bird song, but one in particular stands out, the raven. So at one time, the raven was rainbow-colored feathers, but the raven flew too close to the sun and burnt its beautiful feathers, and that's why they're black, but sometimes you can see the iridescence in them as they're flying around. Ravens are keepers of magic, that magic flame, the courage that they had to fly so close to the sun. And so for centuries now, they've been collecting medicine of all kinds And this medicine that they have and that they've collected, they have a piece of medicine for each and every one of us. And so as you go into your meditation, you can hear that sound in your mind, the cawing of the raven. Imagine its strong talons, and then in its grasp is a jewel. And the raven has brought to you an amulet or a stone, and they gift it to you, leaving it at your feet. And around the stone, around the jewel, is a cord so that you can tie this beautiful amulet around your neck and around your throat. And as the raven flies away, cawing, all of a sudden you realize that in the power of that amulet is the remembrance of your sacred voice. You also remember as the raven flies away, the medicine of laughter, hearing his caw, that he's in the joke with you, he's laughing along with you. That your sacred voice has been there all along, but you just needed that simple reminder to speak up for yourself, to remember that our words matter. And so now, with your sacred amulet, you keep walking through the woods, and then you come to an opening of grassland. And in that grassland, you are stopped in your tracks completely by the beauty, by the stunning beauty of a stallion. The wild stallion doesn't notice you at first as he's grazing in the field of flowers. But then you see his muscles begin to slowly twitch in such a way that you know that he's aware. And so you ask the stallion if you may approach. And you can even smell him on the scent of the wind. And the stallion's so grand, but he invites you to come closer. And so you approach slowly, finding your courage, finding your sacred voice, and you start to pet the stallion. And he kind of moves around just subtly to let you know that, it's going to take a little bit of time before he welcomes you on his back. You have to build up the trust and the understanding and the proper communication. But with horses, it doesn't take words. It takes a sending of vibration, of love. And so once he knows that he can trust you, he invites you to climb upon his back. And so you do. Sometimes the most important messages are heard not through talking, but through observing. And so you climb upon the horse's back, and then he begins to walk slowly at first through the grasslands, taking his time, allowing you to meld as one and get comfortable and find your own trust of one another again. And then as you begin to feel your heartbeat stronger in your chest because you're feeling alive on this great stallion, you can remember the sound of your heart beating inside of your mother's womb, beating with your mother's heart, as your mother's heart beat with the heartbeat of the Mother Earth. And you feel empowered, and the stallion begins to speed up and begins to run. And as he does, as the stallion begins to run faster and faster and faster through the grassland. You hear his hoofs beating on the earth. Something is awakening inside of you. It is your very own soul song. Just like the natives and the indigenous people who were able to tame these beautiful wild horses, to work in tandem with them. When they would ride on their backs and just let out this amazing yelp and holler through their heart, the sound of freedom and of being alive. You can do this in your imagination, or you can do it now. Whatever sound you can feel building up from that kundalini, from the base of your spine, building up, coming up through the spine, through the fire of your belly, through your heart, into your lungs, out your throat. So now you have the amulet around your throat, and you have discovered your soul song, and you can sing it. Feel the power of the sound coming out of your own body. And then the stallion places you gingerly at the side edge of the woods again. And you thank him, you bow down to this grand stallion, thanking him for that joyride of freedom and love and surrender and finding your soul song. And then you turn to begin your walk back through the woods, and you feel that it's gotten darker outside. And so you take a moment to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings, but you do feel a presence. The light, the sun is going down and it's getting a little bit darker. The moon is rising, and so you just have to allow for your eyes to adjust to the light. And then kind of behind you is the presence of Athena. And the goddess Athena has an owl on her side. And it's a great reminder to know that the owl is the protector of the night, and that all of us have to be aware of our own darkness and our own shadows, and we have to learn how to befriend those shadows. That it's time for us to treat every moment as if it is our last. That's what the owl has to teach us. That's what Athena's message is. She lets you know that you are safe in the woods and that you may travel on, but that your life is precious and that you matter. And in order to honor your life, you really have to realize that you cannot take it for granted any longer. It's so precious, but it's finite. All of us have that in common. And so it is time for us to find our voice and how it is important in the world, how we can affirm our own positive reality. And so you continue to walk through the woods back towards your home. You have now, as you look down, you spot an owl feather. You didn't notice it at first. And like all gifts from Mother Earth and all pieces of nature, you must ask permission if that is meant for you. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You can ask. And if not, it's okay. You just leave it for the next person or you leave it for nature, the cycle of nature to take care of. And if it is, you may pick it up and put it in your medicine bundle. And then with your jewel and amulet around your neck and your soul song unleashed, perhaps with your owl feather, you begin to return back into your body, refreshed, whole, healed. And you can begin to inhale and exhale. Inhale, remembering the sound of the woods. Exhale, committing yourself to finding times to be silent so that you can listen more. Inhale fresh prana and energy and life force back into your body. Exhaling any last bit of stale air, thoughts, self doubt, all that negative speak that I mentioned earlier. Inhale. And we're going to exhale audibly. You can shake it out. As you shake it out, you're going to begin to reawaken, more whole, more refreshed, more energized. And then I'm just going to close with a little the Om Shanti chant. And I invite you to remember that prayer of thank you. You get to choose the vibration that you would like to live into. So you'd like to come back up into your body and kind of find your seat. Inhale, lengthening the spine. If you've crossed your legs, uncross them again. Your palms may have been up. You can put them down in your lap, or you can put them over your heart. And then you're just going to listen to the vibrations of the sounds of Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Honoring the divine that resides within you. Maybe you have taken sacred vows to a partner, maybe you haven't. take a moment to make a sacred vow to your own self that it is okay to stand up for ourselves through our speech. Not only is it okay, it is important, it is necessary. I absolutely believe that, prayer is important, but more than ever, it's also a time of action. And we're going to have to learn how to share our expressions in poignant ways that aren't harmful to one another, but get our ideas across, because there's a lot of things that aren't okay that are happening right now. And so, speaking up for yourself doesn't mean that you have to be nice, but it's helpful to always be kind because people don't hear, um, they can't really hear you unless we can find a commonality between ourselves to begin to, find some kind of common ground and start there with our conversations. So, boundaries are important. Um, you know, Standing our own ground is important, but hateful words, mean words, unkind words are not really going to get us anywhere. It's not to say that it's okay not to get angry, but how do we use that anger to energize ourselves, to bring up that energy all the way up, that boiling energy all the way up to our throats? Bring the heart into it, bring the mind down in it, and express ourselves in a powerful way. Um, we're all trying. So bless you and thank you. And I hope that you can get a little bit of healing and maybe have heard something good in this meditation. Thanks again for being here. Namaste.